Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Prince, and it's my first video on the channel. Now, if you're wondering what this is Monday Morning Quarterback, where I'll be breaking down the games of the week. I'll be breaking down who I think is the player of the week from this past Sunday, and we'll talk about whatever video content I want to talk about. So, welcome to the video. Please tune in and please hang there with me. I know that these first couple of videos. It's going to take me a minute, but hey, that's what. Be patient with me, and I promise it'll be all worth your while. So let's jump into it. Week 4, Sunday night. Pretty crazy game. I did not see a tie coming. I don't think anyone did. Um, it's crazy. Yeah, that's the only thing I could say to that. I really thought Green Bay was going to win that game. I mean, on paper, they're the better team. And it just seemed like, at least in the beginning, that first quarter, even at the beginning of the second, that they had the full momentum. But I give credit to the Cowboys. I don't like the Cowboys. In fact, I hate them. Can't stand them. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And I think Jerry Jones and the Cowboys played a very impressive game. I mean, and it doesn't count as a loss for them too. To think that they put the second most points into a tie of all time is absurd. So I definitely didn't see that coming. The other shocker of the day, Jackson Dart and the Giants. Unfortunate though about Malik Neighbors. That's definitely going to affect things going forward. But I think if you're the Giants, you're in a good place knowing that Jackson Dart could be your guy. I thought it was a questionable pick when they drafted him after they got Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. But looking at that now, it's actually looking like a good pick, at least through one game. I mean, he had that rushing score and a passing touchdown early on, and you defeated the Chargers 3-0, who looked unbeatable these past 3 weeks. So I think if you're the Giants, you have a lot of optimism going forward. You know that maybe we found ourselves the guy. There's 49ers too. Shocker there. Jacksonville, I don't know how they do it, but they found a way to win, and they've won against some decent competition. I mean, especially against the 49ers too. We've got that stiff defense. The fact that they were able to get a win and hang in there, I think is surprising too, especially given the drama with Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. and this offense as a whole not really meeting the expectations, but they've excelled and they've done amazing. You know, they really have. So I give them credit. Now, boys, we're going to talk about the Clutch Cortex Player of the Week. And the inaugural CC Clutch Cortex Player of the Week, I just mentioned his name, is Jackson Dart. I'm not a Giants fan by any means, but I watched that game and he played a great game. He outplayed Justin Herbert, led his team without their star wide receiver Malik Neighbors to a game-winning drive to set up that field goal. If I'm the Giants, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great because I found myself the guy, and you found a way to win without Malik Neighbors, which is unfortunate. I mean, especially if it comes back ACL. Um, you're gonna have Wandale Robinson probably as your wide receiver one, which take that with a grain of salt. I mean, it's not to knock Wandale Robinson, but I don't think he's wide receiver one material. So the fact that we were still able to win, I think, is very impressive, and it speaks to who Dart will be for the Giants going forward. Now, I don't know what that'll look like next week or if he'll flop next week, but as of right now, in my mind, he is player of the week. And you could make the argument if he keeps playing like this the rest of the year, rookie of the year argument. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm throwing it out there. That's a rookie of the year argument for me. Now, boys, Monday night, we got Broncos Bengals. I got to go with Broncos. I mean, they've got their quarterback. I mean, Bo Nix, he has struggled a bit early in the season, especially with the passing game. But I think Cincinnati is just too shallow of a team. I mean, they're without Joe Burrow, and even if they wanted to, they just don't have the pieces on defense to stop the Broncos. They simply don't. I think Cortland Sutton's going to have a big game. I think you could be looking at Marvin Mims or Troy Franklin getting catching a touchdown or two. I think they've got the aerial attack, and I think we're going to see that too. And also the run game. I mean, Cincinnati's got like the worst run game, arguably the worst run game in the entire league. And I think we're going to see that. And you got Harvey and J.K. Dobbins. Like they're just the Broncos are just going to overwhelm the Bengals. That is reason for concern if you're a Bengals fan, but don't take it with a grain of salt. That's just the way it is. I don't see a scenario in which this is ever a close game or the Bengals actually doing something good. I'm just going to say that. And then we got we got Miami and the Jets. Sorry, Miami and the Jets. And I've got to say, this is going to be a good game. Both teams need it, but if I'm calling this game, I think I have to look at who needs it the most, and I think it's got to be the Miami Dolphins. Aaron Glenn, this is his first year, even though things are bad with him and the rest of his team. Like even though they're not performing, it is his first year, so he does have a little bit more grace than Mike McDaniels. He is in the hot seat. And especially with all the rumors swirling around about whether or not he still has the locker room, that is the one thing as a coach you cannot lose. If you lose the locker room respect, you get out. You might as well pack your bags, like go home, get packing, like you're done. You're done. Like that's just it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. McDaniels does definitely need to win more, but I don't know if he can pull this one out of the bag or not. It'll be a close game for sure, especially that divisional rivalry. You want to try to win that one. But I gotta say Dolphins. It'll definitely be close, come down to the wire. But I think when push comes to shove, I trust Tua and Miami more than I do the New York Jets and Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is an okay quarterback, but I don't think he's the guy that's going to change your franchise. He's not going to change the Jets and turn this into a winning program. And I think Aaron Glenn, this will go as another loss for him as his tenure as the Jets head coach. Now, boys, I'm going to get into the content part now that we've broken down what's happened over the weekend, given my player of the week, Jackson Dart. I've given you Monday night predictions. I'm going to talk about the 5 coaches in the NFL that I think should be fired. Yeah, there's definitely some guys that are on the hot seat for sure. And it'll be worth noting what happens next week or what happens in the next coming weeks. I think we're really close to seeing some coaches get fired. Some very soon. Like they're in the hot seat. Like their time is very limited. So at number 5, I've got Brian Dable. Now I'm putting him at 5 because I think Jackson Dart did save his job with that win against the Chargers. I think in any situation where Dart does terrible and it looks like, at least from this first game, it looks like a bad investment or a bad pick, then I think Dable is in trouble. I'm surprised he hasn't been fired already, if I'm being honest. I mean, they made the playoffs, what was it, 22, 23? But they haven't really done much. I mean, they only had that one winning season and they've underwhelmed every year with Dable there. I'm surprised he hasn't been fired. The defense hasn't really gotten much better. They've kind of just stayed. They've kind of just stayed middle of the pack, bottom tier in the NFL, in pretty much every category defensively. Offensively, they have made some nice moves. You know, getting Neighbors, drafting Scatterboo, Tyrone Tracy. Like they've got some young guys offensively, but I think if you're Dable, you've got to you need to figure something out with the O line. Because the one thing about Jackson Dart that was concerning, he was sacked 5 times. Like they virtually had no protection for Jackson Dart. And if he is your franchise quarterback, if he is the guy that's going to change your franchise, you might want to protect him. You might want to protect him, make sure that he is not getting sacked as much as he did yesterday, because it was just awful. It was just They were constantly getting pressure. So the fact that he was able to get 2 touchdowns, I think speaks to him. It speaks volumes to who he is as a player and as an athlete. And I think that that'll be something to monitor going forward. The other thing that I think could put the other reason I have him at 5 is Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter is a monster. He is an absolute menace, but I don't think he's being used the right way. Like against the Cowboys, he rushed the quarterback. He rushed the quarterback or got to rush the passer 47 times during the span of that game. And he had 4 pressures, 3 hurries, and a TFL, all against the Cowboys. Like this man is an absolute monster, and the college tape is out there to back it up. Everyone knows that this man is a menace if you give him the opportunity. But he has taken some hard hits, especially with like special teams, which I don't think he should be utilized at special teams is the best idea, especially for a talent like that. You cannot waste a talent like that and just think it's okay. And I think that's going to show in the next upcoming weeks. And if they can't get Abdul Carter going, I mean, what you're talking the number 2 overall pick, like that's unacceptable. You have got to make you've got to make a difference. If he can't make a difference, and the Giants are still terrible at the end of the year, I think Dable might be packing his bags. With that in mind, we're going to go to the number 4 coach, who I think should be fired next, and it's got to be Zach Taylor for the Cincinnati Bengals. Um, if I'm being honest, that Joe Burrow's prime has been wasted, absolutely wasted, which I think is such a shame when you have a quarterback as good as that. I mean, you cannot waste this man's prime. He's 28. He's 28 years old, and he is the second most sacked quarterback since 2020, since he entered the league, which is not acceptable. You're spending on offense, but you're not spending on the right things. I mean, the O line has gone unchanged for what, 4 years, 5 years. They don't really make any significant changes to help the O line, and defensively, they're just too shallow. You've got Trey Hendrickson. That's about it. And Trey Hendrickson, yes, he did sign a deal, but it took forever for him to sign a deal. And at the end of this year, I wouldn't be surprised if he's saying, hey, I want to be traded. Get me out of here because I'm wasting my time and talent here when we're clearly not going to win a Super Bowl. When all we're ever going to be is a what if team. Like, what if we're healthier? What if we go on another Super Bowl run? I think that they have to invest on defense, and that might look like trading away some of the guys that you've spent capital on, like T. Higgins. T. Higgins was a guy that they signed in the offseason. They kept him. They didn't seem like they were going to, but they franchise tagged him. He's with the team for this rest of this year. But I think if I'm the Bengals, at least, if I'm Zach Taylor or the front office, I'm pushing for a T. Higgins trade because it's very clear to me that the only way that this team is ever going to succeed is if you get this man defense. Give him a defense so he's not always running, trying to scramble, make plays, and make all these miraculous plays. Because he can make those plays, but that shouldn't be the expectation. The expectation is he should be in a situation where he's like Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, where he's got an O-line that can support him so he can do the things that he's able to do and execute at a high level without having to worry, am I going to get crushed or demolished by this D lineman or this linebacker? Which through 5 years, boys, he has not, like it's been rough for him. And I think for Zach Taylor to have to go to the playoffs, to go on that Super Bowl run, yes, it was incredible, right? No one saw it coming. Cinderella story. But that's the highlight of his Bengals tenure. He hasn't really done much since then to give me optimism, at least, or to give Cincinnati fans any optimism of, oh, this is a team heading in the right direction. And I think that that pressure is on, and I think it's only a matter of time before he's out of a job in the NFL. Now, moving down to number 3, I've got Kevin Stefanski from the Browns. And this is another one that surprised me. Zach Taylor, I could understand why they kept him because he ultimately did go to that Super Bowl run. Whether he was responsible for that or not, he was the coach. So I can understand the Bengals keeping him around for this long. But I cannot understand Kevin Stefanski still being the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Make it make sense. He is awful. The Cleveland Browns are awful. And guys, this is not a knock on Cleveland, but you have got to get it together. Like, this is ridiculous. How many more seasons is it going to be of, oh, well, there's next year. Oh, we've got our guy. We've got our quarterback. Like, stop with the quarterback carousel. Like, it just needs to stop. Joe Flacco is still the starter. No disrespect to Joe Flacco, but there's some shade there. Why are you starting? You are a 40-year-old man. You are at the end of your career. You drafted not one, but two quarterbacks in Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders. Whether you like Sanders, whether you think he should start or not, there's Gabriel. Whether you like it or not, they've got two young quarterbacks who are hungry, thirsty, and want the starting job. And they're already in a bad enough situation where in a couple weeks their season's not going to matter. Put him in. Maybe you could turn your season around. I don't understand the the overall decision making of Kevin Stefanski. I think it's questionable at best, and it's not leading to any good results. In his playoff career with the Browns, he is 1-2. 1-2. And both of those losses came in this first round. Like he hasn't done anything productive in his tenure as the Browns head coach. I mean, you've also got guys like Miles Garrett. You've got that guy out of UCLA, Schwarzlinger. I don't know. I'm probably saying his name wrong. Schwarzlinger, Schwingser, whatever. However you say his name. He's been solid too. A stud in the second round. That's looking like a big time steal. And they've got Mason Graham, who's playing amazing too. He's looking like an absolute menace out there for the Browns. So you've got guys defensively. If Cincinnati, they don't have that. They don't have that defensive talent outside of Hendrickson to help them or at least get them in winnable games like they did against the Packers. Because they won against the Packers, and in large part that was because the defense was able to hold them off and completely stop the Packers offense from functioning. The offense is absolutely shallow. It's dead. Jerry Jeudy, I'm sorry if to anyone who's a subscriber and or watching this is a Jerry Jeudy fan, he is a fraud. He is not the guy that everyone thinks he is. I didn't think he was the guy when he was in Denver. I still don't think he's the guy in Cleveland. It's as simple as that. I think he's an okay guy. I think he's a wide receiver 2 or even a wide receiver 3 at best. At best. They got Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman should be a return man. He should not be catching the balls. Like, I'm just going to say that. I'm not trying to be rude or I'm just being blunt. I'm being blunt and I'm being honest. And Cedric Tillman should not be your wide receiver, too. I mean, it's as simple as that. I will say the one thing that I like about the Browns offense is that run game that they have between Dylan Sampson. Love that guy, and he's got some touches early on. And you still got Quinshawn Junkins, who I think has probably been him, along with Dylan Sampson, have been the only bright spots of this Cleveland offense. Um, and if you're the general manager of the Browns, you have to ask yourself, what are we doing here? Because the Browns, your franchise is bad when you're used to losing and when you're used to missing out on the playoffs. You've got to change that narrative. And I don't think Stefanski's the guy to do that. He simply isn't. Heading on to my number 2 coach, who should be fired. I also mentioned him in the beginning of the video, but Mike McDaniels. I think McDaniels is in a huge trouble. Like, it's sink or swim for Mike McDaniels. And I literally mean that. I mentioned this earlier, but the one thing as a head coach that you can never do is lose locker room respect or lose the team culture. If you lose the team, if the players cannot get behind you, then just pack your bags. It's as simple as that. Like, that's the one thing you cannot do. You're going to lose games as a coach. And I think no one will ever look at McDaniels and was like, if you lose a game, you're in trouble. You're fired. That was never the expectation because, as with any other head coach, you're not going 16. You're not going undefeated. You're not going 16-0. You're not going. You're just simply not. It's not to knock any one head coach in particular or anyone, but that's just the truth. You're not going 16-0. And for McDaniels to have the personalities that he does on the team, like Tua, like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Calais Campbell, like all these guys, even last season, going back to last season with Jalen Ramsey, right? To have these personalities all on one team. And I think we saw a little bit of this towards the end of last year where things were starting to get out of hand and we started to see things unfold. Like we saw Tyreek Hill talking about he wants out. We saw that happen. Now, he hasn't expressed those concerns as of yet. As of yet. And I say that because I do think that'll get brought up again, especially with how they're playing right now. I think Tyreek Hill did what he thought was best for him when he left for Miami, and he did have success. Like he was successful, he was good, but I think he thought that he was going to win a Super Bowl, that he was going to get to AFC championships, and he was going to be the guy that he was, at least when he was young and in Kansas City. And it just really hasn't turned out like that. I mean, 0-2 in the playoffs under McDaniels. I mean, and what's more baffling too, I think, about McDaniels is just looking at who he's coached with. Like you go back to when he was at Washington, look at that staff he was with. Sean McVay won a Super Bowl with the Rams and is one of the best coaches of the 21st century. Matt LaFleur is in his seventh season, has already been to multiple NFC championships, has only missed the playoffs 1 year, and arguably has the best young team in the entire NFL. And he actually leads the NFL's youngest team. And even Raheem Morris is looking pretty good. I mean, they got the win against Washington yesterday. Now, I know Jaden McDaniels wasn't playing, but I thought they did look good. And Kyle Pitts, the reemergence of Kyle Pitts under Raheem Morris, I think that's something definitely worth noting. You got guys like Drake London. You've obviously got Bijan, who's an absolute workhorse. So they've got a solid team. So even Raheem Morris, his second year, it has been okay. Like it's been, I think, pretty solid. I think it looks, at least as of right now, looks like it's trending in the right direction. Like I wouldn't be surprised if this is a team that gets the last wild card spot that just last week of the season sneaks in there, sneaks through the back door and gets a playoff spot. Because I think that's the talent that this Atlanta Falcons team has. So you have to ask the question, why isn't that with Mike McDaniels? Why is that with Mike McDaniels? You've got success with the rest of them. Like as I've said, McVay's a Super Bowl champ. LaFleur is very well on his way. He could win one in the near future with the team that he has, with the youth that he has on his team, and he has the locker room respect. They're liked by the players. They're liked by their stars. Like you don't hear Jordan Love talking trash about LaFleur. You don't hear Stafford or Puka Nakua talking trash and slandering McVay. You just don't see that. So I think the question that needs to be asked is, why is this happening with McDaniels? Has he allowed this to happen as a result by not really trying to be a buddy with the team? Has he lost? Has he essentially fired himself? And I really think he has. I think the game against the Jets is a must win for him if he wants to save his job for 1 week more. Because I think we're at a point where you're going to get another loss against Buffalo. That you can't compete in the AFC. You're virtually overly reliant on Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane. Like Achane's doing everything he can. I'm surprised he hasn't been injured yet. He's receiving the ball, he's running, he's really doing everything. And other than Tyreek Hill's performance against the Bills, he's been pretty silent. They haven't really gotten him the ball too much. Haven't been a ton of looks his way. Jalen Waddle's been a no-show this year, and Tua hasn't been doing good this year. So I think that He is on very thin ice. Like, we're talking like he does not have much time left. And the number one coach that I think should be fired, and I think this guy, I wouldn't be surprised if by the time we're sitting here next Monday, he's not fired. I'd be surprised. Uh, and that's Brian Callahan. Now, I am a Titans fan. Um, and to say that is hard because the Titans are the Titans are awful. Like, there's no other way to put it. They are the worst team in the league by far. It's not even close. It's not even close. I mean, if you're Brian Callahan and you're this offensive mind, right? The offense is bottom five in every offensive category, in every offensive statistic. They are bottom five. And for a guy who claims to be a quarterback coach, or like, was the guy that coached Joe Burrow and the one that scouted him out, it's looking pretty awful. It's sad to be a Titans fan. Like, I watched the game yesterday, and every time that the Texans scored, I told myself it's okay. It's going to be okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. I thought I needed therapy after that game. Like, it was absolutely brutal. I thought I needed therapy after watching that game. You've got to think too, they're paying players ridiculous contracts who aren't performing. Calvin Ridley, for example. Calvin Ridley is awful. He has been terrible. He has the third worst catch rate in the entire league. And this is a man that they paid 90 million. They paid him just north of 90 million, and you've got the third worst catch rate in the entire league. That is unacceptable. And this was especially, the expectation was he was going to be the wide receiver one, right? Like, at least in my mind and in a lot of Titans fans' mind, he was going to be the wide receiver one. Even though they got Io Manor and they got DK, he was still the veteran. He was going to lead this group and kind of help Io Manor and DK and help them become elite prospects. Io Manor and DK have become elite on their own. I mean, Io Manor's looking like the wide receiver one already. He's made some nice catches, and he's probably, him alongside with DK, have been the only bright spots on this entire offense. Actually, scratch that. Tony Pollard is doing everything he can, but the O line is terrible, which is another thing we have to discuss. The O line. You paid Dan Moore $82 million to do what exactly? To do what? JC Latham's out injured. Kevin Zeitler's okay, but let's be honest, he's 36. I mean, he is, at this point, he's not playing for anything. He's playing for retirement. Like, he's just playing for fun at this point. I don't even think he's playing to be competitive or compete. So if I'm Brian Callahan, you better feel the pressure. You better feel the heat. And to only be in your second year and have the worst win percentage in franchise history is unfathomable. It blows my mind. I don't understand it. And this was a guy who we were expected, or who at least was advertised as the guy who helped Joe Burrow really become who he is as a quarterback. And he's supposed to be this quarterback whisperer, so to say. Um, Cam Ward has looked okay, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Out of the data and out of the stats that we have gotten from him, he doesn't look like the franchise quarterback. I think we've got ourselves a slightly better version of Will Levis, um, which is fine, but that's not what we need to turn this franchise around. I think the only reason Callahan hasn't been fired yet, and I truly believe this, is because of the rookie class. Because this rookie class, I'm actually fairly impressed with this rookie class, given that we really have the Titans. They have nothing to play for. Absolutely nothing. I mean, they're already 0-4. They're playing the Cardinals next week. I don't know if they're going to win that game, which is sad to say, but it's the truth. I don't know if they're going to win that game or if they'll even get a score. I think you've got Kevin Winston. He's currently injured, but I think this guy is going to be like a Kevin Byard-esque type of player. a safety that you can really rely and depend on. So I think that's something worth watching. DK, surprise. I mean, he's a return man, but he's also been a wide receiver, like our wide receiver too, believe it or not. I think they just need to get him more touches, but there's something there with DK. Io Manor too. I mean, I've said it earlier. He's leading the team in catches, receptions, pretty much everything. And yeah, I'm impressed with Io Manor, which I wasn't coming into the season. I thought he'd just be like an average player, but as of right now, given how bad this Titans team is, he is the one bright spot of the roster, of the at least for the offense too. And Gunnar Helm, I think the small sample size we've seen of him play, he's made some decent plays. I think Chig is probably on the last year as a Tennessee Titan. I don't think they renew his contract. I think it'd be silly to do that. And on the defensive side too, you got Oladaho. Don't know how to say his name. I do apologize for not knowing how to say his name, but Oladaho as the linebacker has looked pretty good. Now, granted, that's because he's really the only decent linebacker, the only young linebacker, the only good one that we have on the roster. But he still played good. I think that's the only reason in this rookie class, and I will say this, and I say this with full confidence, is the only reason why Callahan hasn't been fired. And as a Titans fan, I am absolutely fed up with Callahan's tenure. I think it's just he's got to go. He's got to go, and I think he has to go as well as his father. His father's the O line coach. The one thing worse than Callahan is the offensive line, right? And his father, because the O line, I mean, Cam Ward is already the most sacked quarterback through the first 4 games, which is the worst thing you want to do for your rookie quarterback. You want this guy to be set up for success. And you spent this money. You brought in Zeitler. You brought in Dan Moore, right? And you've got J.C. Latham. J.C. Latham's out. He's been okay, but that's really it. The rest of the O-line is terrible. So I think he's got to go too. I think Callahan's entire staff, we just need to start fresh. We need to start new and try to salvage this season, even if that's getting a couple wins and getting a top 3 pick next in this year's draft. It needs to be something, because to sit here and to watch Callahan do what he's doing to the Titans is unbelievable. Like, boys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't go to the Colts game when they were at home, and I was very blunt about it. A friend asked me, he's like, "Why didn't you go?" I'm like, "Because I don't want to see our team lose." And it's a sad thing when that's the entire sentiment of your fan base is we're going to lose again, or we'll be happy if we can get a score. So I think if you're Brian Callahan, you need to get off the team. I think you've been a terrible coach for the Titans. I think you need to go back to whatever it was you're doing before with the Bengals, because whatever success you had there was working. And I think you need to stay there or go to another franchise and mess them up. But I think your time in Tennessee is over. Now, boys, thank you for watching this video. If you're still tuned in, bear with me. I know that editing and watching my pretty face for 30 plus minutes is not ideal. And I am working on that, but please hang in there with me. Please be patient. And thank you, boys, for listening. Tune in, subscribe. Your brain wants this smoke, and you guys can expect a vid on Friday for college football material. Thank you, guys. It's Prince. See you next week.